Oh.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to let you know it is 10 o'clock, but we are going to have to wait a few more minutes to get a quorum. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Just setting it all.
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We now have a quorum. Ready for the flag salute. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call. Great. Here. Here. Eve. We have a motion to adopt the agenda. We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? No opposition. The agenda is approved. During this portion of the meeting, members of the public may address the board on matters not on the agenda. If such matters, well, actually, this is it has to all be about the agenda. Correct. So we'll go down to action items. At this time, we'll take public comment on the agenda item, selection of a provisional board member. Is that anybody? Okay, no slips?
Hello, as you already know who I am, I'm Jason Tilden. Advocate for the Valley students and staff. Tribal member, Matinaway tribe, descendant of Pujah. I am here with concern.
Could you hold on a second? We're gonna turn off this heater.
I didn't think that heater could
Out.
outdo me. Wow, all right, get that model. I'm sure Irma would love it. Nonetheless, as I said, introducing myself, I have concerns with this proceeding today in the sense that of timing. As you know, you're looking in your agenda to replace a trustee seat that is an elected seat voted on by people known as Area 5 or Camel Creek or South Hoopa. And to hold this meeting at 10:05, I don't think gives the people in that region an adequate time to even come to be involved in this. So I think you've shut them out of an elected seat and to be able to speak, such as I have this opportunity today. It also is layered by this proceeding does not include the tribes' involvement in the selection piece. I have concerns because Area 5 is a layer of the HVIR, the Hoopa Valley Indian Reservation, and to not have that representation be a part of these proceedings, I think is again unjust and unfair. So again, timing and representation of the tribes in this seat that is elected. I just want to make sure that the board members are aware of that concern. And I do hope that others communicate with you in the YouTube world. I do hope and invite you to communicate with these board members and the superintendent regarding this and probably a lot of other matters. That is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matilton. So action item number 1 is the selection of the appropriate provisional board member. I'm going to read the process and then we'll introduce each other. The president will introduce the provisional candidates. The interviews will be held in alphabetical order. Each candidate will be interviewed individually. Candidates will be asked to wait in another room while each candidate is interviewed. Selection of the candidate will be held by an open vote in open session with a show of hands. In case of a tie, there will be a revote until a candidate is selected. Before each revote, the board will ask each candidate an additional question. Each candidate will be asked the same question. Okay, at this time, we're going to introduce the board. If we could just go around to the candidates. Could we start with Trustee Colgrove?
Hello, can you step over? I'm the trustee for the other side of the room. I thought it was area 5, but it's not.
Area 4.
It's area 4.
I'm Lori Hodge. I represent area, I think it's area 2 in the Willow Creek area.
I'm Martha McLaughlin and I represent the Orleans area up to Siskiyou Summit and down around into Willow Creek.
I'm Jennifer Lane, superintendent.
Leslie Jackson, I represent Creek Area 6, which is Pine Creek Road. I'm not sure of the total acres, but.
Terry Bray, I represent Area 1, which is the Salyer area.
And then we have our candidates. Start with Mr. Burbank.
Stephen Burbank. Anything else you want to know? I'm sure you're going to ask in a little while. Frank Richards.
Thank you.
Stop.
So at this time, we'll ask Mr. Richards, Carmi, can he still sit in at your office like I did that time? And then we'll go ahead and start the interview process for Mr. Burbank. If you could come up here, Mr. Burbank, and
At this table,
yes, please.
can I move the chair a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we're okay. Come here.
Oh.
You're the hot.
Yes, I can sit right here. Excuse me for having my back to you folks out there.
That's taken, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Burbank. Dana is going to read the questions.
I'm gonna come closer. Okay, are you ready?
Let's turn on your lights so that we can hear.
Question number one, what do you see as the basic purpose of the public schools?
I think the basic purpose of public school is to make our students functional in our society. And in that, I mean that they not only have the basic concepts of traditional learning, but they also have the ability to be social people and be able to function well within the society once they move on from the public schools. So they're productive people, productive human beings.
What is the role of the Board of Trustees in fulfillment of that purpose? Purposes.
I think the role of the board is to adopt policy, to develop goals that are achievable and that are adequately articulated to those that they would affect, whether they would be the community, the students, and the instructors and the classified people in order to achieve the goal of education and socialization.
What are you proud of in this district?
In this district, do you mean what am I proud of with the school? Or what am I proud of within the district as a whole and things that I may have been a part of? I'm not sure how you want that answered.
As a whole. I would read the whole question.
Okay, so what are you proud of in this district? What would you like to accomplish as a board member? And which is your highest priority and why? Maybe if you could answer together.
Things I'm proud of is one I've served on the board previously. It was a very good administration. And we did make progress. As being a community member, things I'm proud of is coaching youth sports, being involved in that. And then also being involved with the funding, obtaining the funding for the Canal Medical Center. So being a part of providing the College of the Redwoods institutional site here in Hoopa. I'm proud of that establishment. I think it's a very big player in that, obtaining the buy-in from College of the Redwoods to the construction of the current building. Things that I'd like to accomplish, I would like to see our community be a little bit more on the holistic side. Things that we're be more inclusive with all of the people that work in the school district, all of the students and all of the community. I think we become a little healthier. The trauma-informed methodology I fully support, but I think sometimes we forget that almost all of us as in adulthood have our traumas. I think we maybe discount those traumas, thinking that maybe we got over them when we still are affected by them, whether that be for my own one serving in the military, Vietnam era. That's traumatic. There are certain things that will happen that trigger me and I become very, very uncomfortable with it. That's just my own example, one of them. We all have had, I won't say we all, I hope someone can have it, but we have these traumas and we forget that when people come here, their trauma, whether their trauma not too far removed from the education system that the United States government may have imposed on natives, how that affects their coming to the school board. that's a trauma. You know, it's trauma passed on in the DNA from the boarding school era. I think sometimes we forget those traumas. Not only the students have traumas, but we as adults have traumas, and we need to kind of get, I believe in the trauma-informed process for all of us, so we can appreciate that and have a much more holistic community that we're all pulling for each other in the success. And it begins at the school level with the young people. Getting them through that so they don't maybe have the same traumas going on into adulthood.
Question number 3, as a trustee, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role? How would you fulfill that role, both as an individual and as a member of the governing board?
I think the primary purpose of the board is to set the direction that we would like the superintendent to implement in all of the certificated and classified employees follow, and be a process that is for the benefit of the students. As an individual, I would hope that I'm a very engaged listener. I hear what everybody has to say and I appreciate what they have to say. Even though I may have a different opinion than someone else, I would hope that I would always respect that difference. Hopefully through our differences, we make the best decisions possible. I don't think we move forward if we don't have somewhat what we might call conflict or differences of opinion, whatever words we want to use. If we all have the same viewpoint continuously, I don't think we're ever going to change. And I think all of us would hope to change. Even if it's good today, how do we get better and best? And what today's best is not tomorrow's best. And how do we do that? And that's by, for me, appreciating what everybody brings to the table, what brings from the audience, what brings from the ones that really matter, the students, that we actually hear the students. And as that's as an individual, as a member, I again come back to I must respect what everybody else has to say. And it's a democratic vote process. Even though I may not agree with something, I will support it to the best of my ability if it's different than what I would personally believe or like to have happen. I think I would appreciate Saz and their viewpoints and support that.
Question number 4, describe a good board meeting. What are the objectives of a good board meeting?
This one is going to be a little off the rails, so to speak. I think that the board meeting process lacks an awful lot. And I don't blame that on anyone on the board. I just think it's a process that has been implemented over time. And sometimes I believe it just discounts other people's views and the ability to really mull over a situation. With the Brown Act, I think it's an impediment. Yeah, I understand it. I understand that's what you have to do. I understand the rules, but it doesn't allow for everyone to say their ideas and to kick it back and forth to come up with better ideas. I think we just are able to say, I vote for this, I vote for that. Or, you know, maybe someone in passing has had the opportunity to talk to somebody. I don't think it creates that environment that gives us the opportunity to come up with the very best. One person's idea may be a very good idea. The other person's may have a very good idea. But how do we blend those ideas to come up with a better idea? I don't think the way it's constructed based on law really allows for that in a, again, a holistic way, a way that says, I heard you and you heard me, and we came up with a solution that we think is gonna be the best for the students, and we're gonna have the positive outcomes. I just don't think it allows that. So that is, you know, to me, a good board meeting would allow that to happen, would allow really the whole board to get and say that this is my idea, this is your idea. And get a feeling, and in the same way with the people that come to the board meetings or the people that are just members of this school district. That allows them adequate input to say, okay, this is my idea from there. Then we don't get to ask them, well, how would you do that? How do you really envision it? How do we really come up with the good stuff that's gonna be motivational to students, that's gonna really have the positive outcomes? I think we just miss that. I don't know the solution to that, given law. But I think if somehow, whether it's a really good community forum, listening groups, or whatever, that just has a good back and forth. And not with necessarily the time limits, because we have the lifetime of our youth here to really take care of this valley, this whole school district. They're our future. We hear it all the time, but really, how do we do those things that are going to have those positive outcomes? I think we missed some of the opportunities. So that's my idea of a good board meeting. The objectives of the board meeting is, one, it's an open meeting, except for those that are parts in the closed session, are to listen, to hear, and then to do the business of school district, to actually getting some of the nuts and bolts things going, so they're not just sitting on the table unaddressed. You're gonna have to pay your bills. You're gonna have to do certain things. You're gonna have to listen to the superintendent. That's the person on the ground who's implementing the things. And those opportunities, I think we need to value an input from the superintendent. I think sometimes, being a board meeting, we miss those opportunities as well. We're not, if I'm on there, or even if I'm not, those members, the trustees, need to hear what's really happening on the ground, because they're not there. I mean, they're in a full-time job, other things there, you know, whether it's domestic duties or whatever. You're not there observing every day. People are. Superintendent, members of the educational staff are there. So again, to hear what's really going on and to grasp, not just necessarily to hear it, but sometimes those are grave situations, you know. Someone might say, this is happening at this place, and it's not so good. Do we really grasp that, or do we just gloss over it with a show of hands and a vote? I think we can get better.
Question number 5. What would you do if you believed administrators had not provided you with accurate and complete information for making a decision?
Well, I think again, this may be, again, the opportunities. If you have an agenda that comes out 72 hours before a board meeting, and that comes out in the afternoon on a Friday, sometimes those opportunities to say, well, that person may have thought they provided all the information that was necessary to make a good decision. You may have a feeling that that isn't. How do you get to that point of actually bringing that to attention, sitting down and discussing it, and making yourself better educated, And if there is something there that it allows for the opportunity for that individual to provide that information, it gives you the basis again for a sound decision based on understanding. I would not want it to become an adversarial position of, hey, you didn't give me this. No, it's not about that. It's how do we communicate? My need is this, you provide that, can you give me this, or is it in there and I just missed it? I think those opportunities need to be enhanced. So I don't want it, I would not want it to become to something. Oh, you purposely misled me to come to a decision based on inadequate information. That's not healthy. It's not healthy in my thought process.
Number 6, describe your response when a parent cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
My response would probably be, what are the issues? And then this is how you bring those issues to the board. And make sure of the things that you need to include so the board can put that on the agenda if appropriate. So if not appropriate for the board to put it on the agenda, how does it then would go to the superintendent so that she could pass that down to wherever the concern level is. But I would want that individual to feel that they were listened to, that I heard them. And I would want them to know that I would be an individual board member and I have no ability as an individual board member, except in the meetings to advocate or vote yay or nay on that. I would want that person to understand that I heard them, that I appreciate what they had to say, and then what my limitations as an individual board member are.
Number 7, how does an effective school board ensure opportunities for parents and community members to express their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues?
With great difficulty. So I think that's where, again, the town hall meetings could be extremely effective. I think there needs to be a process for town hall meetings. So again, it's not scattered and you don't really address issues that someone wanted to bring forward. Somehow there needs to be an agenda or a process that kind of keeps it ordered, because some of this stuff can be extremely chaotic. With the back and forth, and some of it then does not lead to maybe making the best informed decisions. So to create that environment where they have the opportunity and there's an opportunity for dialogue, I think is the way to ensure it. As I said before, I think that the actually structured board meetings are not conducive to having that necessarily dialogue. I think that the town hall concept really does create a good avenue for that. I just think it needs to be shaped in a manner that is somewhat structured, but not overly structured.
Number 8, please summarize the strengths you would bring as a member of the board.
My strength is I'm a business person. I see things through a business lens. That could be my gift, that could be my curse. But I do look at the school district as a business. And I think sometimes we don't act as it's a business. But our business is educating students. That is our business. When we have certain things that are impacting our business, I think we really need to look at it from a business structure. I don't mean that you know, certain things are so business oriented, but from a business structure. When I hear at board meetings that 85 students from Hoopa Elementary have migrated to Trinity Valley, a business would look at that and say, why? Let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's understand why this is happening. And if we're gonna have this store, Hoopa Elementary, this business arm, Hoopa Elementary, functional, we need to have customers. Our students need to be there. So why do we take surveys? When I go to have my car serviced, before I get home, I got a questionnaire in my inbox. How was the service? Why? When I go to Ace Hardware in Willow Creek, the next day, talk to Ace. Are we doing those kind of things to understand what's there so we can fix it? So this part of the whole conglomeration of businesses, this arm of it is functioning, so we get to that. When we talked about, again, the last school board meeting, we had so many absences. I have a hard time personally believing that that is all due to illness. Are we understanding why? Are we getting to the heart of the matter? I came to the concert put on by the high school music program. It was so full of energy. Those students that were there were excited. It was awesome. So can we create a business structure that still has education that excites students, that wants them to come to Hoopa Elementary, that wants them there? There are many reasons why some may go, but some of it is dissatisfaction. So from a business standpoint, we're losing out on that. From a business standpoint, why do we have so many students go to McKinley and High to Arcata? That's money out the door. Okay, so if we don't have the money in, how do we have the hiring of the teachers? That's business. Sometimes we fail to look at it as business, even though it is business. But it's the business of educating students, and it's a business of keeping our customers coming in the door and being satisfied. That kind of says what my strengths would be, what I want to be. From a budgetary standpoint, doing mega budgets for a long time. I think I could assist with anticipation of what quick questions may be and how to address those when the public has a concern. We're very good at speaking to it. So sometimes budgets, if you look at it, it's just numbers on paper. For some people, it's really nervous. You look at what the heck, those numbers are giant, and how do they go? So can we speak to that? Can we talk about how one part leads to another and understand that? I think that's one of my gifts that I can bring forward.
Number 9, what will you do to become more effective as a board member?
Well, I think the first thing I would do is make sure I'm open to constructive criticism. The way I go about things may not be the way other people would like it to be. And if we have a constructive observation, I want to listen to that and take it to heart. I'm a tenacious researcher. When I hear something at the board level, or I hear something just passing in within my family, I'm going to research that. That's what I do. Understand the ground. I'm going to understand the policies, research it. One has a reference to another part of the law, and not only the ed code, but in California law. I'm going to research that to make sure I have the best understanding that I possibly can have. So that Is what I would do when something's gonna be placed on an agenda. I don't understand necessarily, it has some reference to certain items. I'm gonna go find out what that refers to and make sure that I understand. And I think that, for me, is what I would have to do to be.
Number 10, identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff considerations, and your personal value and beliefs to determine how to vote on an issue.
That's really tough, to ask something, so. I don't want to poke someone behind necessarily. But the first thing I'm gonna say is I'm accountable to that person in the mirror, first of all. My morals, my standards, and my ethics are paramount to me. I do not violate those knowingly. I may make mistakes, there's no doubt about it. Look back at it. Yeah, but I want to hold true to my morals, to my standards, and my ethics. That is paramount. If I cannot hold true to that, I've got some deep exploring to do with my own internal world. It's my own internal abilities and external abilities to look at everyone and say, I believe in myself. I believe that I've done everything within my learning, my raising, with my people that are my influencers, that I hold true to those values. And that's what I'm going to base when I walk out that door in the morning, get up out of bed, I'm trying to base my life on. I'm a hard person. I can be hard on myself. I don't be that. So must be true to morals and standards and ethics. I think some of the times there's certain things in there. I'm going to jump to this because I don't know how to answer right down the line. But in certain parts of the law, say, I'll just go back to scenarios. The Ed Code says that a teacher will always have first choice of taking the stipend position. I have extreme problems with that in the past. You may have an outside person that for 5, 6, 7, 8 years have done an outstanding job at their coaching, at their whatever mentorship parts might be in stipend position. And because, say, the basketball team's going to be good this year, someone who's never been involved, oh, so this is our teacher, I want to have my shot, knock someone out. I have problems with that. Yeah, I understand the law, but I can't support, say, someone who has dedicated something for a measly $2,000 to $3,000. They have given time to mentor students, and then all of a sudden, just because the law says that, I don't see justice in that. So that's a hard one for me. I hope it doesn't come to that. See that. There's a problem. In the federal law, I'm gonna follow the law whenever I can, as long as it does not corrupt my morals, values, standards, ethics. Policies. Now, you said you want it straight in there. Uses Cold Grove. You said, bring it, right? Okay. So the board, most of you are fresh, some aren't. So the decision of the board in several instances has been not to follow the Indian policies and procedures. I think you can follow those. If they're not the right policies, change them. But as long as they're policies, follow them. How can I hold a student to the policies that may affect them? If as a school board, we cannot follow those same policies. Sometimes we don't even understand what the policies is and we inadvertently miss them. But when it comes to the table and it's brought out, I don't see anything wrong with saying, let's step back a second here and make sure we do things right. Let's make sure we follow the policies. You can't have do as I say, not what I do. I can't tell my kids or my grandkids, don't drink, don't drug. I'm doing that. I've got no voice. I just discounted. I have to live true to what that. I'm gonna follow those, and I want you to know I follow those. So those actions trouble me. I don't think they're policies that are ridiculous, and some policies become outdated. Change them, step back and change them if they're not working, but don't just not follow. So I think that's all I have to say. There's more.
Okay, number 11, what question do you have for the board to help you prepare to take on this commitment if chosen?
What questions I have? Are the same questions that I'm gonna have of myself. Can you respect me? Can I respect you? The rest is just details. We're gonna, everyone that's coming in here is gonna be one thing in their mind, one purpose. No one come up here for any other purposes except how do I make this best for the kids? We all have different methods of which path we're gonna. Can I respect you? And can you respect me? The rest is just details. I don't care about the rest. I care about respect. I care about honor. Can I come to you with honor? Can you come to me with honor? When we have differences of opinion, can I not vilify you? And can you not vilify me? That's my question. Can we be honorable in our deliberations? Can we be respectful? That's my question.
And number 12 is the overall impression of the candidate.
I think I'm a pretty good person.
If you ask the,
Well, I just want clarification on something that you said. In the first response, you said that you had served on the board. Is that the school board? before?
Yes,
Okay, it's not on your resume. I didn't see that anywhere.
I think I put it in the cover. I think I put it
In the cover letter, I didn't see that. Okay.
And for Martha McLaughlin, I served with.
Okay, I do see it on the top of that. I missed that.
Yeah, I wanted to keep that brief. I don't necessarily count that, it's just something for me. That was a long time ago, different people, different kids, different things going on in our society. I'd rather keep it fresh.
Anyone else on the board have any questions or follow-up questions of the questions that were asked?
questions to instead of next candidate, right? You ask questions, judge asks questions.
You do.
Yes, but we can ask a follow-up question too, if you have any come to mind of the questions we already asked. Right? Yes.
Clarification.
Do we have anyone in the audience who wanted a clarification or follow-up on any of the questions that we asked on Elise or?
I guess my question to the candidate would be, the question that.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Littleton, let's make sure it's a follow-up to other question, or you have to
Yeah,
remember it and ask it to the next at candidate.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it deals with communication and the importance of communication as you are a conduit to the community. It is woven in one of those questions. I can't recall exactly what question. But what is your stance as a board member and your responsibility, in your opinion, to communicate with your area, with your constituents, if you will?
If this is what I'm gonna say, I don't know the rules, but I would like to have my own individual listening session with constituents. And I would say if at that time other board members wanted to come or other employees of the school district or anyone else was interested to come, I'd just say, throw it out a Wednesday before the regular board meeting, and just said, what do you got to say? And I sat there and I listened, and if it required feedback, I would give feedback. And again, it was the same kind of question that was asked about if someone confronted me in the store, that everyone felt that I listened to them and I appreciated what they had to say.
So I interpret that as like a mini town hall with your own area, or?
I think in the voting part of it, yeah, it's this Area 5. But when you vote, you don't vote for Area 5. So I'll just say bring, and anyone and all would be welcome for me. Now, whether that's okay with the board, whether that's okay with Ed Code or anything else, I would want clarification to make sure that I wasn't feeling that I was overstepping my bounds and my limitations. I would look to that. I'd also look to the superintendent. What's your take on this? To make sure everyone gets it and why. But communication in this world today, I believe, is our greatest downfall. So anything and everything that I could do to help communicate, I think this makes our world in this little space here in this valley better.
What's it?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rick. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Connie's gonna show you where to go. Yeah.
You were. You guys turned down what's her name? Something. And then she said, do you want to?
Oh, I was.
Well, it didn't matter. Yeah, I almost said that's discrimination.
Do we bring it back?
Yeah.
Okay, there's reason.
I could.
You want?
No, I just put it on. Did we? Oh, okay. We have an extra one because I noted on it. There should be.
Yeah, so it's two things.
Oh,
No, I can give you one here. Hi, Frank.
You need another set?
Hey, Dana, go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Richard.
We're gonna start with question number one. What do you see as the basic purpose of the public schools? What is the role of the board of trustees in fulfillment of that purposes?
I think that you guys are the go-between between the adult educators that's in our school and there's their boss. And the community can come here, voice their opinion. I've watched many Zooms, voice their opinion and have it listened to. It's pretty interesting, what's going on with the school boards right now across the nation. But I think that we are a unique group of people, the high number of Native people in our schools. And now we're getting Native people as educators. I think it's an awesome time.
Number two, what are you proud of in this district? What would you like to accomplish as a board member, and which is your highest priority and why?
I think recently, the mold issue that we created at Awesome School. I was a little bit bummed that they used the same footprint, but it's a new school and awesome. For whatever reason, good, bad, right, and wrong, it's beautiful. And now we have an high-tech building, but the wood shop and welding. I walked in here the other day with Scotty, and I it just blew me away that the kids are gonna be able to be working in there. It's beautiful. I think that the district itself that I'm proud of is how everybody handled the pandemic. And that was such a upsetting and mixed everything up so much. And I think that you guys were part of the thing that kind of calmed it down a little bit and made sure everybody was okay. Well, there was what would I like to accomplish as a board member? I'm the chairman of Building Lives, a building structure, a nonprofit that trains carpenters. I would like to build on that and create a tiny home program or a woodshop program for youth. Right now, I'm having a class start in January. I have an MOU with the Carpenters Union apprenticeship committee that came up and gave me a big banner, hang up in my shop over there, and we are in agreement of the people who finish the 6-month program starting in January, in June, they will have direct entry into the union, and that's when those 2 Cal Poly buildings would start. And so we did a presentation to the Captain John Youth and Jason Pierce, the apprenticeship committee member, brought with him one of the high guys, executives from the Swinnerton Construction Company, came and was talking to the youth and about our program being a direct entry into the union. Been a while since I've been in apprenticeship, but I'm a journeyman carpenter, and it's an amazing opportunity to get direct entry into the union. Traditionally, I guess you have to get put on a list. You go to Fairfield, do a 6-week course, then you're a pre-apprentice, you get on a list, and you have to wait on that list. And from what I understand, that list is like 1,500 people long. And then you gotta wait, and it's a wait. So native kids, native people, what goes through my program will have direct entry into the state carpentry union. The opportunity to be working on those Cal Poly.
Number 3, as a trustee, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role? How would you fulfill that role both as an individual and as a member of the governing board?
Well, I think traditionally, historically, from what I've seen, is the division of people, and it's hard to get this number of people to decide anything together. But I think gotta have some solidarity and understanding. You know, what I see, not with just this board, but with other boards and communities, is adults hold your past against you. You know, or your character or your personality is not the issue that we do. And so I'm a quiet guy. I listen and soak stuff in, and want to be part of a team. This is what this is, team, and we all have our positions to play. And that's what I see as a good trustee.
Number 4, describe a good board meeting. What are the objectives of a good board meeting?
Everything on the agenda gets talked about and has opportunity to be talked about by the community. A good board meeting is short, going to 5-6 hours. The direction, I think a good board meeting is has good direction, which is the chairman, vice president, guides what's going on. And other meetings I've been part of, there's the meeting goes on forever. It takes all kinds of different directions. So point of order, I'm a big guy on that, getting off topic, and I think I will have to say something about that.
Number 5, what would you do if you believed administrators had not provided you with accurate and complete information for making a decision?
I find that one hard to believe that would happen. I'm a guy who, there's a certain issue or circumstance that's involved here. I'm not just gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna go see other people's opinions and decide for myself. And if it was a group effort to misinform me, that I'd be pretty upset. But I would get information from different places.
Number 6, describe your response if a parent cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
That's a difficult one, you know, in a small community and big families. That has happened to me. And I will listen to the issue, but I will definitely direct them that this has to go before the board. This information, you just can't be just me. It's gotta be everybody. It's gotta be a public thing for it to happen. To get resolved. Be better to come to the board, get on the agenda and lead your case.
Number 7, how does an effective school board ensure opportunities for parents and community members to express their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues?
I think that as I had four kids that graduated from Bye-bye. I think more information out to the people. Yeah. I felt like when my kids were going to school that I wasn't really informed of what was going on. I always heard about something that happened after it happened, you know, an event or had to be somewhere for the kids. I think updated, recent right now information that happened. The policy definitely We've been part of a couple of meetings where, it felt like people who were running the meeting didn't know what was going on. And how am I supposed to know if you don't know? So, to be more, I guess, educated about what the situation is.
Number 8, please summarize the string shoot Woodgreen as a member of the board.
Well, probably gonna sound sexist here, but as a man, I'd like to see more men involvement. I'm a social worker, I'm on a Hooper Travel Ed board, I've been to meetings, and I'm like the only man. And, there needs to be a balance there, I think, in my opinion, but for my strengths, I invested in this community. This is my mom's tribe and people, and I have a large family. I've been off the reservation more than I've been on, and I graduated college. I'm a social worker. I'm on the Hooper Travel Ed board, been on there for a long time. And I'm advocating for a vocational training program. I'm running the program for adults 18 and over. It's a nonprofit, open to the public. I'm trying to get to the high school where we can do a tiny home club and put tools in kids' hands. I put my hands on tools in 6th grade. We had a junior high, regular junior high, built a school. We got to do woodworking, welding, all that stuff. I think sophomore is when you can put your hands on tools over here, or junior. I don't think that's it has to happen early for you to understand if you have the inkling to build something. I'm really excited about the high-tech building, super excited for the kids.
Okay, number 9, what will you do to become more effective as a board member?
What I've been doing recently is watching YouTube videos on what it is, what our responsibilities are, what our duties are. I kind of get off tangent when watching the bad board meetings and people go off, and that's interesting to me. But I would find out. I was sitting over here in this office over here. I got the number of foster kids in each school, and I've been trying to get information for a long time. And so the statistics and the demographics of what we are as a district of 7 schools is very interesting. And I don't know if anybody's analyzing the data. I know we have an impact aid study, has a bunch of numbers on there. And that dashboard thing with the red to green and interesting. But what is it telling us? What does it do? Especially if that gauge has been the same 5-6 years. What are we doing to change that? It didn't say that. So I would research where we're hurting. You know, I advocate for foster youth. I advocate for kids who are having a hard time in school, and their parents.
Number 10, identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff considerations, and your personal value and beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah. All school boards really was recently been on my mind is the banning of books. The people joining and getting on school boards to do that, to have a hidden agenda of what they feel that should happen. That's what causes these angry school board meetings. But I think that when you come into your own agenda, you know, and it's not popular, I think that it's good to come and talk about it. But some of the stuff I've seen, I think to answer that question, it would be the books. What are our kids getting?
Number 11, what questions do you have for the board to help you prepare to take on this commitment if chosen?
The board meetings are at each school at different times, right? They're not always here.
Yeah, they do rotate.
Okay. And then second Tuesday, only one meeting a month.
Well, it depends. We do have special meetings here and there, like today is a special meeting, not on the normal agenda.
Then how much, I mean, do you get noticed
24 hours.
24 hours?
Yeah, we try to do more, but it's usually 24 hours. 72 for regular meetings. And then number 12 is just overall impression of the candidate favorable. It's just looking at you.
Does anybody have a follow-up question to the questions that were asked on the board? Well, I'm not, yeah, he has his question that we'll ask again, but do any of the board members have any follow-up questions to the questions that were asked? Mr. Mattel, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. So cousin,
Yep.
this question is kind of, it's one in a lot of questions that you've answered. But in my opinion, the board is a conduit to the community. And you will represent Area 5. My question is centered around, what is your stance on how are you going to communicate with your constituents in Area 5?
I'll have an open door policy and let people know I live in Camel Field, but they can get a hold of me on email, through Facebook. My cell phone number is out there on my building liability structure program. My personal contact information is out there if anybody wants to get a hold of me. I will listen to them and then I will most likely direct them to get on the agenda and come before the board.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the audience who had any follow-up questions on the questions that we asked? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I guess, can we just stay in and bring, right? Hi.
At this time, I'm going to ask for a vote for Mr. Steve Burbank to be our provisional board member. All in favor? Opposed? We don't have to do that. And then our second, Mr. Franklin. All of, well, I'm sorry, Franklin. You've got two first names and it's for Mr. Richards as provisional board member. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
So now,
When's the meeting?
right now. We're gonna have to swear you in at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Burbank, for applying and being here. We really appreciate it.
So right now, in order to swear him, give him the oath of office, I need to call the county and they will develop the form and I'll bring it in soon as I get it. I'll go call him right now. Take it, right?
Ms. Hostler, if we need you, we'll call you back in then. I don't,
No, I'll come back.
you'll be back? Okay.
Yes, I want her in here for
Yeah.
the agenda item.
Oh, no, I'll be back in.
You'll be back in? Okay, I just was making sure you weren't leaving.
No, I'm not leaving.
Okay.
I need to think about it something. Probably on his phone.
Okay.
Jason, you have a site plan on the agenda, right?
Yes, I do.
Scotty's site plan. on the agenda.
Did you do that?
So we have two people now.
Did we go on with the agenda? Or,
Yeah.
After we swear him in, after Dana gets me the correct prompt, then Frank will take his seat at the board and then we will, just finish on it. It's a short meeting.
Okay. So how many is a quorum?
4 out of 7.
Out of 7.
There's 7 members. Today we're missing Deborah from Downriver. We're missing anybody else?
No, that's it.
Oh.
You have somewhere you need to go.
It'll be-
Yeah. By 12?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so
Okay.
we have another board member who needs to be on by 12 also.
Oh, then, yeah.
Maybe it's been a call.
so we can't continue on with the agenda. Even though we
Okay.
have.
I think last year you had to go
We have to swear Frank in,
So we're gonna swear him in, but we have to read the county language.
and then he joins our meeting.
And then we finish it
And then we finish the agenda.
Okay.
as
My
is.
question was, is can we continue on with business? Because we have a quorum.
There's a forum. So we
And
can
it's-
continue on.
and
We
it's
could
for
let
time-
him go after his.
for time
swearing in.
restraints.
Well, for
Is
time
it good?
restraint,
Okay.
we can do that if you want to.
What I'm thinking
Yeah,
is,
'cause
can
you
we
need
just
to go.
move forward with business and then you sign them in and then we can, so we're not wasting time waiting for her right now.
That's the.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so swear him in later?
Yeah, one later, so
Okay.
as soon as we get, let's move forward with my business that we go to. But I don't wanna have to leave and not.
Okay, I'm not there.
Okay, to the swearing in? Oh.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is the approval of resolution 2359 of the Klamath Trinity Joint Unified School District regarding accounting of development fees for 2022-2023. You need Carmi back.
We don't know if she got time to put something.
Want me to go get her?
Yes, please.
I had a question
We
also.
all do. We really do.
I'm on Ms. Lane, this is
That's it.
on the second, on page 7, the second page of the resolution under based on all findings and evidence, it says 2020-2021 fiscal year, and then later on it says the 20,
Okay, so that's gonna be a clarifying question for her, whether
Okay.
or not we're just dealing with last year's budget or 2 years. depending
Okay.
on-
because then I did see
So
that.
your item is up, it comes forward and approval of resolution 23-59 of the KTJ USD regarding accounting of development fees. So Lori has a question on that already, so say your question.
Thank you, Ms. Osler. My question is on the second page of that. It's page 7 in our packet. But it says on the second paragraph, based on all findings, and they're talking about year 2020 to 2021. And then later on, and then I thought later on I saw 2021 to 2022.
So we have 2 different fiscal years in here, so are we talking about 2 different years or 1 year?
21, 22.
I can look at the document.
Please share credit.
It's just right on the item, okay.
I think she's on page
So on, and talking about funds expended at the end of 2021 fiscal year.
Got 2021
that's-
should be changed to
To 22-23. We're talking last year because the resolutions didn't specify the amounts in that fund. Okay, we did not correct this yesterday when we were looking at it, so it should be 22-23.
Can we, is it possible to just get it corrected real quick for me so that we see that, because I'm confused on the years,
It's 22-23,
all the way through?
all the way through.
Can we, make the motion?
And then with the edits to
With the
come.
edits to come.
Yes, because all the information is for the 22-23 school year.
I move that we make that motion with the edits. That's okay.
And did you second it? We have a motion by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Jackson to approve resolution 23-59 of the Klamath Trinity Joint Unified School District regarding accounting of development fees for 2022-2023 with edits to the document.
I have a question.
And we have a question by trustee Ray.
Okay, so on page 1, it has contractor services. What, this is development fees, right?
That's development fees, and that's what was budgeted. Because a lot of, more than likely, your development fees are going to go towards a service. And there was no service, so it's only the budget.
Okay. That was my question.
Ms. Hostler,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how often do these fees get used? Does it just keep rolling over?
Carries over year after year, and they're, I'm just gonna be honest, they've not been used. There's no projects that have been lined out for the use of these funds as of today. And it's just coming up with a plan as to how we want to use those funds for projects. Again, it's a very small amount, and just with some direction, guidance, from some priorities that the district would like to come up with, I'm always open to how we can utilize those funds.
So obviously those funds would probably need to be in concert with some other project because it's such a small amount of funds. But if we needed some extra somewhere, we could use this. And it just has to do with, need to be with construction.
Correct.
All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Did anyone else have any questions regarding this fund?
Yeah,
Yes.
how much is it?
Well, is it the 32 or is it the 12? I don't really, I don't understand it precisely. Pardon me?
Yeah.
I don't understand there's a pot of money that can go towards
Construction,
Correct.
and food determines that.
we do.
Okay.
So,
Awesome, how much money is it?
Right now, so we budget based on the trend through the years. It's not a fund that grows every year. It really isn't. So this year, we have a revised budget, or a budget of $10,771. And to date, we've received 12. So we will now transfer to cover the 12,000. That's just for this year. And that's kind of the trend year after year. We get about 12,000. Again, it's based on the square footage of maybe what someone.
new construction. Do you know what that fund is? Trustee Franklin, it's a fund that it's a development fee that you have, that new construction or remodel in this school district. And it's calculated by square footage, but they have to come here and pay a certain fee per square footage, and then they get a receipt and they go to the county and they have to have that paid before they can pull down their permits from the county. So it's
Square footage of the school.
of the structure that they're
Oh.
building, or if they have a remodel over a certain amount of fee. There's some guidelines to it, but that's what it is. So that's why it's not a huge amount of money, but it does have, you know, some money coming in because of that.
It is, and if you look at page 14 on the agenda packet, it'll have the receipt. So it kind of details a little bit about the square footage, what type of buildings, it explains it a little bit more. And that receipt then is going to be the county planning department.
Yes, the planning and building
Requirement.
department as a requirement before they can pull down their own permits for that project. So you get the money before they even start building.
So a lot of this, excuse me, Carly, is carryover from when we had all the mold abatement, correct? And we had project after project, or this is something new?
This is for property tax owners.
So,
Yeah, this is for new construction
Okay.
by people who own their own property and they pay property taxes and they have to pull permits from the county
okay,
to build anything. So,
well, there's my property tax.
yeah. So then, well, so is it the
Required online,
73,000 or is it the 32,000? I mean, I see many numbers.
Currently with the cash, so again, it's the carryover.
Right.
We only budget for what we will receive. So we don't want to put in 73,000 and we're overinflating that account year after year. However, the cash is in the county treasurer. So that's why you have this financial statement that you have.
Well, that's what we're wondering. How much money is in that account right now? Because I just see so many different numbers.
So like it's on the second. Do the taxes bring in 72,000 or do they bring in 10,000?
They bring in,
So the cash in county right now is at 87,915. We had to do a fair market adjustment, and that's for auditing purposes. You'll see it in, and then you'll see it take back out. The beginning balance, once those adjustments are made, and we still have accounts receivable in there, is 73,745. So that's the beginning balance for this year. However, the budget only reflects the 10,000. Just
My question is, if we had a project we wanted to do and it fit in the parameters of what this money's for, can we spend $73,000?
absolutely.
you can spend it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Before the end of the year.
Basketball court.
anytime.
It carries over.
And it carries over every year. So it's not a spend it or lose it. This is our money.
Has to actually be a structure, like licensed contractors will come in and build something.
I can get you guys some information in regards to the available use of funds and how it leads to this fund only.
And it would be in that 6601 with the ed code.
Yes,
So Frank, yeah, it's on the 660001B1AD. Those ed codes explains.
I could do
But
up a nice little.
That'd be nice. I'd like to see that too.
Could it improve the wood shop, the high-tech building? You know, I'm not a tiny home advocate. To create a program like that, or to buy tools and stuff for that shop.
Yeah, I don't know if it can buy tools, but we can find out,
Yeah, I can check.
you know, and we can have discussions over that. That'd be great.
The new building was fully furnished with all new stuff. So that's part of the price that we get paid. Get that developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely do the one sheet for you all. And again, this is a brand new fund that we, as a district, had to adopt when we were getting all of our mold, all of that. During those years, we had to go out for a bond. We had to make sure that we tapped every avenue to receive money. One of them was the development fee. This district, in the past had never had a development fee for folks to have to come in and pay that. And the board about 8 years ago had to adopt this. So this is all brand new. And I'm gonna say it's brand new to myself as well. And it's not something we deal with every year, the ins and outs of it. And so I will get you your information.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
But that would be like a wish list that each school would. This is what we want. Then we decide on that.
We can decide on that as a board. We can put that on an agenda and discuss it. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item on the agenda is approval of Captain John High School Site Plan, the SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024.
Unless you do want to do this for me now.
We do have Ms. Moya here if we have questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Moya. Did anyone have questions? For Ms. Moya? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it. Let's second.
I have a motion by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Ray to approve the Captain John High School Site Plan SPSA, Student School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. All in favor? Opposed? Motion approved. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Moya. Next action item is approval of Jack Norton Elementary School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. Mr. Henderson? Anyone?
Do I need to come up there or?
You don't have to. You can stay there if you'd like.
Well, I just wanted to share with the board, we got separate sections, goals, strategies. And I was just sitting here thinking like, what does it really all boil down to? And really, this whole plan boils down to creating a school that has a culture and a climate that you're making kids want to come to, where they can be successful. And really, that's what it is. It's like everything we put into these plans is, trying to, help our students have success, social, emotional, academic, physical, and I think we really need to get to a place where we really reward our academic success students. I mean, all students. And I really like the fact that we have this iTech building. This iTech building really excites me because there has been a pathway for kids to go to college forever and then get all this debt. Well, this iTech building is going to be a pathway for students who college is not in their future. They don't want to go to college. They want to build. So I think this is really exciting. And anyway, back to my plan. It's old school, on task. We do supplemental materials, data driven. I'm pretty old school, and it's just time on task, having kids work, interventions, and that's what the plan is. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Henderson. Do I hear a motion? Oh, wait, I can't, you know what? You're right behind. I can't see.
I do have a question. So the site plans, Jack Norton and Ridgeback came before IPP. And the Title I funds, there was a discrepancy there between what was brought to IPP and here. So I just had a question on how you strategize making cuts.
That's a good question. That's a good point. And I guess I wasn't fully transparent. Carney brought to my attention that my budget was $800 under at Jack Norton, and my budget was $500 under at Witchpeck. And she brought to my attention that 10% of Title I fees have to be spent on professional development. So what I did was I inserted that 800 into professional development at Jack Norton. I inserted the 500 in the professional development at Witchpeck, and that brought my percentage to 10% of Title I funds to be spent on professional development. So that's how I good point.
So you ended up being under, not over?
My budget, I underspent, yeah, I underspent by 800 on Jack Norton, and I underspent it at Witchpeck 500, so I put it. Which one?
It was before that, when we were over that.
Oh,
You did those adjustments.
oh,
That was just the second.
oh, that was the second.
Yes.
Okay, Carmi's been helping me out with my budget, and, okay, so yeah, when I came to IPP, I was off. And, I fixed it, and I sent emails out to everyone of how I fixed it, but let me look, let me look. Let me make sure I don't,
So if I may, kind of update that a little bit. Let's hear.
yeah, help me out, Bernie, please.
When the site plans came to the IPP, it was provided to me just to look at the numbers to make sure the numbers added up to the amounts that they were allocated. And so upon that, a spreadsheet was sent out to each of the administrators with their goal and their action, the amount that they put into each goal and action, that they utilized Title I and Title I only. So putting that in, they also had some expenses from utilizing their plan from the previous year. So under that goal and action, they may have had some expenses at the beginning of the year to start their school. So that was included. So that brought down a balance maybe in goal one, action one. What I had done was ensure that the end amount was what they were allocated. It might have been off a few dollars. And some they were over quite a bit. And so it was given to them to make those adjustments and take it back to their site council, keeping in mind that the IPP would be looking at their goals and actions. We can always adjust, but they need to take it back to their site council so that their site council is aware that the document they were providing to the IPP and to the board was what they were voting on. I didn't want them to think that they were voting on $10,000 more than what was actual. And therefore, he had to take it back to his site council to make those adjustments. Also, in that document, there may have been a goal and action. This is just for everyone's site plan that I've been able to.
Indian Ed too,
Yes.
in kind.
There was in kind, we need to take that wording out because it looked as though we were utilizing Indian Education's budget when in fact it was actually in kind. So there was just a little bit of, are you aware of this? Just so that they knew what Jason understood, what his thought may be different from mine, yours. We just wanted it to be more clear. With some of the goals and actions, it may have had, say, $500, but they were already utilizing from their previous SIPSA. It may have gone over that. So it was also shown to them in red. You don't have enough in that goal and action to cover what's already been taken. Also, the question was, if the amounts in that goal and action, do they now line up with a different goal and action? Because that may have been the case. And therefore, we're able just to make that adjustment on an Excel sheet. So that's what he's talking about. I gave him a couple of different snapshots. So when every time he would return it back to me, I'd redo the form for him just so that he'd have something and all the other administrators would have a snapshot of where they're at so that they can start keeping track of their plan and what they're expending and, continue on. And they're able to keep that tool so that when they have site council meetings, they can say, this is what's been spent. The information is taken out of our accounting system, so they're able to see what's been encumbered. They know what they're asking for on their OSRs. We ask for what goal in action. And we kind of do a second look at what they're doing to make sure that they are lined up. Not necessarily we are keeping track, I'm not gonna lie. However, it's not a day-to-day thing that we do. It is let me do a follow-up for the next month so that I can see that, you know, they're within their spending the plan. So I hope that helps, Jason.
Well, when I went to IPP, I was $10,000 over, and that's what you're talking about. And I did deduct that evenly from all my accounts, so Wichita, I was 10,000 over, and Jack Norton, I forget how much I was over. But anyway, it was evenly distributed, evenly deducted from each account, and my site council was fine with that, and they know every action that I've taken, so
Annalise, was that, did you have any more questions regarding that?
No, that was it.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion? Trustee Jackson? I have a motion made by trustee Jackson, seconded by trustee Colgrove for the approval of Jack Norton Elementary School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. All in favor? Any opposed? Approved. Next, we have the approval of the Wichita Magnet Elementary School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. Do we have any discussion, any questions? Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion made by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Bray for the approval of Wichita Magnet Elementary School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion approved. Next, we have the approval of Hoopa High School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. Do I have any discussion regarding this site plan? Have a motion? I have a motion made by trustee Jackson, seconded by trustee McLaughlin for approval of the Hoopa High School Site Plan, SPSA School Plan for Student Achievement 2023-2024. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda, which we have no consent agenda items. And now, do I have any public comment on closed session?
And nothing with previous or closed session, so you can actually.
So there's no closed session.
And the food is here, if you want to let you know.
Well, meeting's adjourned. Oh, we gotta swear.
She suggested we do it at the next board meeting when they send.
Is that what we were gonna do, or do we wanna do it now?
Can we swear them in on ours? We have our own. Let's just use ours. At this time, we will swear in our newest board member.
Where's my seat?
I'm gonna give one of those.
You're so tiny.
You can say, take that spot if you want.
Oh, it's 19.
I gotta read something to you.
Okay. Okay.
Well, no. Okay. New board member Franklin Richards, please stand, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Franklin Richards,
I, Franklin Richards,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you are.
Awesome. Thank you. Exciting.
It is a great time.
It is.
Well, no, I didn't adjourn. Okay, so now we're gonna.
January, second Tuesday.
We don't have.
Did you pass it? Or did you adjourn? Did you adjourn?
Not yet.
Oh, no. Almost gonna shut down.
And then we welcomed our newest.
Does he need to sign both or just one?
Just the one.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Motion moved. Member meeting adjourned at 11:41. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's how we do it here.
How do we shut this down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have mileage in there, maybe, yeah, we're gonna leave that here.
Or, where's she? Yeah. Yeah.